Introducing Nose to Tail, a podcast where we explore the world of aviation lifecycle solutions, insights, and more. Presented by Jet Midwest.
Welcome back, everybody, to Nose to Tail. I'm Patrick Kraus with Jet Midwest. I'm here with Roger Browning. Roger, how you doing?
Good, Patrick. How are you?
Doing well. Always like to start a podcast, learn a little bit about your career, how you got started, and where you are today.
I started aviation in '96, actually. I was just a driver for a very small avionics company, coincidentally, which is about a mile and a half from Global now. So it's interesting I can make that full circle. After that, I did some government contracting, is what I learned there as well before I left. I worked for aircraft systems for a short period. Then I went to Wencor. Worked at Wencor for several years, helping develop PMAs, also doing sales in the Miami region to other MROs, High Standard, HEICO, GA Telesys were some of my main clients at the time. From there, I got pulled over to overall accessory, interested in actually working in MRO because I got tired of looking at a green screen all day, And I thought it would be exciting to be in a shop, to see what's going on, to watch things unfold and be built and break and leak and get fixed and all the good stuff. And I worked there for probably 4 or 5 years until finally I met George and Julio with Global AirServices. They had a shop that they were trying to grow, and they thought that I would be a good fit for it. So I came on over there, and the rest is history.
That's pretty awesome. So was most of your career, sounds like from Wencor forward, that was a sales and business development role for you?
Right. And it was new for me, actually, to do that because I was doing government contracting before. Government contracting is pretty cut and dry, not much sales to it. It's all, paperwork. But when I got into the actual Wencor sales and actual MRO, that's when you really had to learn sales, to learn about your product and know you're selling.
In terms of a career, getting into sales and business development, obviously I've got a large sales and business development team here at Jet Midwest. We bring people through all different paths in our careers. Maybe what's a good pointer or some advice you would give somebody who's wanting to maybe transition their career from anywhere into a sales business development role?
Like what you do. It's important to like what you're doing. It's important to be interested in what you're doing and to continually learn about what you're doing. Sales, especially in our industry, changes. Units change. They become, they become more technologically advanced. The clientele becomes more executive, I guess. They get higher and higher up. You have to learn how to speak to these people. And just knowing what you're talking about is important.
Well, I can definitely say, so what I'm hearing from you is curiosity is pretty important in terms of your personal motivation to really get in and get your hands around something. Now, obviously at Wencor, you're selling a PMA, so a new manufactured product. Whereas when you jumped into the 145 MRO sales, now you're selling a technical service.
Right.
To somebody. Maybe talk to me, what's really the difference there? What do you do differently in the sales or business development piece? What do you do differently between those two different product lines?
Well, let's look at what Wencor does. Wencor sells products that everybody needs. They have to have them. So, just being there and having the products in hand and having the right price, 9 times out of 10, you get the sale. Selling MRO is different because you're selling a service. You're selling yourself. You're selling your reputation. You're selling your ability to do customer service. You're selling your follow through, your honesty, your transparency, to get these clients to send you units for repair where they can send them to hundreds of other places. They have multiple choices. It's not like I said, Wencor, that they have it, you buy it, that's it. So you have to be able to make the client trust you and feel comfortable with you. And so for that, you also need to understand your product. So if I go somewhere and I'm talking to somebody about IDGs, and if I could sit there and talk to them about not just about pricing, but about how the unit works, how it operates, what are some of the things that sometimes fail, and things like that, that makes the client a little more comfortable with me, especially when they're learning who I am. And so that gives them a little more comfort and a better chance for them to start sending work to our shop.
So, obviously you talked about curiosity being important. How'd you develop the skills to talk technically? I mean, you don't sound like you have a technical background necessarily.
I don't.
So what did you do, over the last 20 years? What did you do to really arm yourself with what you needed to know to have those dialogues?
Well, when I first started working in MRO, it was an overall accessory, and the owner did something very important to me. One of the things that I'll never forget is he taught me how to properly read a technical manual. And I think that has helped me tremendously because now I understand what I'm selling to the client, the quote that I'm giving to them, how the unit's broken down and things like that a lot of other people don't know how to do. And I try to teach the people that work in our company to read a manual as well, because it's important to understand the operation of your product, how the unit's torn down, how it's put back together. That's been a life lesson for me that I'll teach everybody that would come under my wing.
Would you consider him a bit of a mentor?
In a way, yes, I would.
That's good. Sometimes being in sales and business development myself for a long time as my primary role, although that's not really what I do today. Sometimes I wish I could. But having that as your primary role, what would a week look like 20 years ago for you as a sales guy at Wencor versus a week today?
At Wencor, it was basically, like I said, it's green screen, looking at purchase orders, making sure the stock was there, checking the pricing, getting the unit shipped out the door. And that was pretty much it, just back and forth, day in, day out. You go see clients, pitch some new PMAs. Hey, this is what we have here. What are you looking for? Can I get some products in so we can try to develop PMA? But it was the same thing over and over and over. MRO is completely different. What happens today doesn't happen tomorrow, and you talked about curiosity, and that's great because I love to go into the shop, watch the guys work on units, watch the guys test units, see the product that I'm selling to clients, to see what it takes to make that unit work, to make it go back out the door and go back on the lane.
That's incredible. I too love that aspect. Our component shop, especially in the early days, we were all self-serving. So we're only doing our own work for many years. And I loved getting in and working with the engineers on a repair, maybe something with the ER repair, some Part 43 part that we need to develop some capabilities to fabricate. And I was always intrigued. I always liked to listen to them. And I figured if I repeat what they say, I sound really smart in front of that guy on the other side when I'm sitting in Memphis or in London somewhere having a meeting with my airline. And like, man, this guy, he must be an engineer. Nope, not an engineer. I just repeat what that guy said.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tactical there. As from a sales perspective, I can hear you on that one. You talked a little bit about the travel. I definitely would say, from where we were 20 years ago, when I started my career, our RFQs came through the fax machine.
Yeah.
Right. We're paying MCI 10 cents a minute. So every time you inquired for a part from the ILS, it cost you a dime.
Yeah.
And when the response came back, it cost you another dime. I don't know why I looked at phone bills back then, but apparently that was the thing, right? It was obviously a very different world. When we got into COVID, when we talked about a little bit about the travel, in COVID, we really relied on Teams and Zoom meetings, right? Because it was just harder, if impossible, to get on site to see them if they were even there. I remember going to one of our airlines, major airline here in the US, and we were pushing and pushing to get on site. And they're like, there's nobody here. It's an office building for, thousands of people, and there's 2 people there.
Right.
There's no one to meet. So, coming out of the COVID world, what have you done differently maybe that changed, right? Teams and Zoom was a new tool that developed very, very quickly because everybody needed it. What other things did you guys really learn coming out of COVID from a business development standpoint that you had to do to kind of regain the success that you've been having?
Well, one of the things that we did, George, one of the other partners at Global, myself, we took it upon ourselves to go out to a lot of the emerging markets, especially kind of right near the end of COVID, let's say like October, November of 2020, and it was kind of ramping down a little bit. We were out there and we were able to meet people and be first in the door to a lot of places. And it helped us tremendously. We were able to expand our footprint just by going out there and being the first in the door, being the person to take that risk and travel through COVID, this horrible thing, and that paid off tremendously for us. We got a lot of new clientele. A lot of people were happy to see us. They were like, oh my God, we haven't seen anybody in such a long time. We can't believe somebody's here, So it really paid off in spades for us. It was really a good approach that him and I took, and it worked. It worked out phenomenally.
So are you guys keeping that same strategy up today, or are you guys deviated on to another path now that those clients are becoming consistent clients?
We still go out there. Of course, we do. We still do in-person visits because of the very important, a couple times a year, we go out and see some of these clients. And while we're out there, we try to look for other clientele, especially these emerging markets, Middle East, India, things like that. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but you just have to be able to go out there and do it. A lot of people are concerned or maybe apprehensive about going out to these parts of the world, maybe because they're just not used to no AC or something.
Yeah.
But for us, it's been a winner. It's been a great plan for us.
I can certainly empathize with landing in some foreign markets that are challenging. My team is currently, I have a couple people that have been in and out of Egypt over the last couple of weeks. And every day when we get reports from them, it's the food is too spicy. I'm having, problems or whatever. Those things do happen, right, in foreign countries. So it's less comfortable to get maybe the same type of healthcare services, maybe if you need them. But no, I hear you there.
Salads and fruits.
Salads and fruits. There you go. That's pretty safe.
We'll continue this discussion on the next episode of Nose to Tail, a podcast presented by Jet Midwest. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to our channel.